we look in here, you can see the springs aren't being kept in with this webbing. So I'm going to release the top of it so I can push the bottom up and then redo the top. Now with this, all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in the back slightly in the center. Pull out towards the side, either side, about 3 to 4 inches or maybe 6 centimeters. I'm going to pull this into place just a little bit, and again, now I've just cut up here. I don't want it coming across, no reason for it, to the end of this inside arm. I've folded that over so it's nice and neat, popped it under as hard up against here as possible with a little bit of resistance, a little bit of tension, but not too much. And then I'm going to work my way towards the center and back. And again, I'm just going to put a little bit of resistance on, but not too much. Pull it into the back. Now on the inside here, I'm going to cut the fabric at an angle to the inside edge of the back, and then hopefully fold both pieces over. And I'm going to pull this side with a bit more tension on, pull that out and to the back, and pull that also. So hopefully it'll come in a really nice little curved angle. Actually, I'll take that a little further out, not by much, just so that there's enough for that to turn and pull it in as well. That's better. So pull on both sides. When you're happy with it, then secure it. When you've done that, just cut it back. Along the back, do the same thing. I'm just pulling it in slightly at this angle here. I've re-pulled in here to about halfway along, so that gives it a nice shape on the sides and the back. I'm going to fold that back to the end of here, like that, and just cut along that fold to the inside arm. Now I might need to alter that. Before I fold that all the way over, that's the inside arm, so I'm going to take a chunk of fabric off the back end here, like that. Then when I push that through, it's already folded. Now see how this comes in here. That should have pulled it in far enough, but I don't think it did. I'm going to have to make sure that's really level. The ties brought it in so far, but I think they've slipped. So I'm going to use this to pull the rest of it in. Now I've just taken these stabilizing ones out for now, and I'm just going to measure the top of here. It's just under 4.5 inches. So if I do that and then push that down to match it, that is also 4.5 inches. So I'm going to staple this part in to match, but only when I'm satisfied because it can't go up and down. It has to be level. If this was a bit wider, I'd get my level out and do it with that. That's how dreadful I am on this kind of thing. So, okay, so that's 4.5, goes up slightly. That's 4.5. So I'm going to staple that. I'm going to come along to the middle here and bring that into 4.5. And then I'm going to come along here. Now this is where it goes up, and that's why I don't really want to rely on those things holding it in. Right, there's my 4.5 to there. That looks about even. The last one, which I need to pull that way, comes in here, but I think I'm going to infill here first before I fight with that end. This roll that they've put in, they didn't make it even. They've shorted it by about 1.5 inches this side, which makes a big difference, and it's in within 1/4 of an inch on the other side. So although I'm going to bring this down and measure it into place, it's really not the easiest thing to do, and I might have to adjust this, so I'm going to just pull it in tight. I'm going to find some stuffing to put just in this corner to make it go all the way to the end. Like I did on the other side, I'm going to pull this in to give it a nice finish here. I kind of have to guesstimate on this side because it's not in properly. As long as it's within a certain range, it'll be fine. And again, I'm going to just pull all of this to the back like this and secure it. Now I'm going to pull in the center and then work my way out. There's going to be other layers on top, so it doesn't have to be perfect, just in there. You don't usually use foam. I usually layer it with cotton wadding and stuff, but I don't have enough of that, and I don't have it in sheet form. I only have it in a bale. I've marked the center here and the center of my piece of foam, which I'm going to put right on the edge. I'm not taking it under, I'm just putting it on the edge and staple that into position. I've marked the center back here, which I'm also going to pull through to the center of the back. and then I can start cutting round here for it to go down the inside here. I'm actually going to cut it at an angle to start off with so that I can pop it in and get it in the right place. So that will go down in here like this, and it should only come more or less to the edge here. It doesn't have to go much further than that. And here I'm just going to cut out and down the front of the arm, because there'll be other stuff going in the arm here, so that can be separate. And in the meantime, all I'm going to do is just staple this on through here, just a couple, so it doesn't move. I'm going to be putting the front border in, and I need to measure. I've just lent my soft one to my son, who's disappeared for the weekend. So I'm going to measure down here. It says 10 inches, so I think I'll make it 11. That should do what I want to do. So I'm going to cut a strip 11 inches for the front, and then I'm also going to cut another piece 22 inches for the back, and at least 30 inches wide. 22 by 30 and 11 by 30 should be fine. Now I'm having to work in the kitchen again, and this is the fabric I'm using, and this is the footstool that I did in the fabric a while ago, and I'm going to see if I can match any of this pattern up on the front border, so that when the two pieces are together, although they're not the same, will look as if they're a pair. This is in the center, so that is the center that I want on the new border. I've got it here as well, so I'm thinking I'll just cut across, make sure that let's have a look. Let's have another look, see. I'm going to match that up in the center of the chair on the mark that I need it, and then I'll measure it out from there. Because I want it specific, I'm actually going to put a nice pin mark here. Double check that that is where I think it is. Get the picture up and make it bigger. The piping is just below there. I think it's probably on here. So I'm going to lower that for my piping mark and pop that in. So now I'm going to take it to the chair and work out where I need everything to go. I'm going to smooth this over like that. Now I know on the footstool the piping is across from the border and the top, but on here I'm going to put it a bit lower. If I push my finger across there, I can feel the top of the wood of the front border, so that's where I'm going to pop it. I'm going to centre that as best I can. I can alter it. Then I'm just going to smooth it into place. Make sure that's where I want it to be. I am really hard to please on some things. The bottom of my chair is now here. So I'm going to put a pin here. And I'm going to allow an inch for the cutting here. So I'm going to start measuring 10 inches from here to the top, which is where I want to cut it off and join it. So take that away and start. The advantage of this fabric is the pattern is repeated quite a few times across. So if I lay that one on there, I need an inch further down on there. So I'm actually going to cut that one, just a little cut like that. And I can go across that way a little way. And then my next cut, I said, would be 11, so that I can maneuver it from there. So it's 10 from this mark here, or 11 from here, so I'm going to just mark that up here as well. Now I'm going to fold it along this mark, which is along this mark here, and I'm going to cut along that line. That's my cut line all the way across. Probably not all the way across, just to the other end of this piece. I'm just going to elongate this part up here to there. And with all of this folded along that top line, I'm just going to cut all the way along here, because this is the top of the pattern, all the way down. There's the part that I already cut, and that's the first part of my front border. With my 11 mark running on at the top here, I'm just going to cut up here like this, all the way along. Or I could do the same as I just did, which is to fold the fabric along that line. Either one works. This I'll use as piping. I'm going to just fold this in half to where I think the halfway mark is. I'll have a look at that photo again and make sure that it's where I think it is. I really don't know if you can see or not. When I look at this picture, I absolutely think that this is the centre mark. So I'm going to mark that as the centre mark again and then work out from there. I've just folded along that line and taken the centre mark out from here, and I'm going to do the same on the bottom, so that I can measure across and put it in properly. Now I'm going to measure from the inside arm to the inside arm, which comes to 20.5 inches. I'm going to actually make it 20 inches because I need it a little bit in from the edges. Now here's my center mark, and I'm going to put my 10 on my center mark. Then I'm going to pin here at 20, and again here at the beginning of the ruler. So that is where I'm going to be sewing down the fronts of here. Here's my pattern match, and there's the base of the chair. Here's the front border. The center mark's there, the 2 corner marks are there. I'm just going to roll that up into place, or where I think is into place, like that. Now if I put my fingers here, I can feel the top of the wood, which is about there, and if I was to pull that down, that would really come into place. So I'm going to just leave that there. Fold along here where the pin is, like that. Here is the top corner of this chair. So what I'm going to do is put a pin on that top corner. This is where I'm going to fold it. I was going to put it through like that, but if I do that, then it stops everything moving. So I'm just going to pop it in here, and I'll use that to measure down on the other side so that I do get it where I want it. Now I've brought it back here, I've lined this up, lined that up, popped that across, and there is a difference which I expected. So I'm going to measure it down from the top. It's about 4.5 that side and 5 on this side. So I'm actually going to make it 4 3/4 on that side and 4 3/4 on this side, like that. So now they're even. If they're short, it won't matter because they're going to be pulled down anyway. If I follow that up, twist it into place, it should create a 45-degree angle. And I'm going to do the same on this side. I'm only guessing at this, so if it's slightly out, it really isn't a problem. Nobody will know because it's going to be sewn into place. Mark that one up here, and the same on this end. Now before I sew this in line, I'm going to fold from my pin along here, and then I'm going to pinch that pleat there and put it on top of my pin like that. And I can feel the pin under my finger. Straighten it all out. But I'm not actually going to sew to the pin. I'm going to come over about 1 inch. I'm actually going to put my sew line to here. Pop it under the machine like that. I'm going to line up my stitches with this pin here so that now this pin is directly in front of where I'm going to be stitching to. Extend the stitch to a 3.5, remove this one and start sewing. Forward and back, all the way over. And I can feel the top of the fabric here, move the pin and forward and back here and remove. Cut back to within 1/2 inch of those stitches just in case I've got to move anything, because I'm going to dry try it first. If I have to move anything, I can move it 1/4 inch and then try again. Do the same on this side. I'm going to fold it along that woven line, pop it on top of the pin like that, and then the pin is here. I want to sew it the other side up, so I'm going to flip the fabric. Here's this pin here. Now I'm going to move it over about 1 inch to there. I'm going to just sew from there up to here again. Drop the foot into position, line up my sew pin here with my foot and just sew towards it, forward and back. This is the top that I'm going to sew into place, and I need to continue this line down. So all I'm going to do is lay that there. This takes a little minute actually because you've got to maneuver things around. So having laid that out, I'm just going to cut this back like that, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. So the same on this side, just along that line there, but so it intersects where the stitching is, and again cut it. I have marked the center of this piece of fabric, and I am just going to pop it there. I will pin it actually. Don't usually pin very much, but I will this time. This fabric on the top is firm compared to the one underneath, so I'm going to put this one on top and have the patterned fabric underneath. And I'm putting the pins in at right angles, and I'm going to sew all the way down here. You'll see why in a minute. It will all make sense. On this side I don't really need to, but I'll still mark it. The other thing I'm going to do is put the seams facing inwards like that on that side, and I'll correct it on this side, that up there. That just gives a little bit more definition on the corners. I'm going to put a 5/8 inch seam allowance on here, and at a 3. 3 will be fine. Just sew all the way along. And I'm actually going to do forward and reverse because there's a bit of stress on that end, and off we go. The advantage of having your pins at right angles is you can sew over them without ruining your needle. Although I do prefer to take them out, especially up here because I'm going to be manoeuvring things. Just line everything up and then work to the middle. Now you can put a little bit of tautness on if it's gappy, but this isn't too bad, so I'll carry on sewing. Centres are still marked. Even if they'd walked a little bit, it wouldn't matter because I'm only using it as a guideline. When I get to this corner, I'm going to line it up, make sure the seam is where I need it to be, and then carry on going. Now I'm going to pop this on with the sides in like that. And put those to there. Fold them in so that they have to go on the inside. Make sure that one's in too. Straighten it out. Push the fabric towards the back and through. Just smooth everything out. Now I will be cutting in, but I'm going to just make sure that my pin mark, which is here, still gets to the top of that piece of wood. The top piece of wood is this one here. Goes across the front of the chair, and it does. So that is in line here. Push the fabric to the back so it's nice and even, and then across. Now before I start, I'm just going to check my picture again, and there's a pattern match here that I want to be on line 2, which is the top of this here, and that also has to be on the top of that wood, so that's exactly where I want it. The width of the arm is about 1 inch, so I'm going to just cut in to within 1/2 inch of that. That will mean that that can be pushed through to there, and that can come on down and into place, but I might have to cut it a little bit higher so that I can pull that round. This is when you start working your fabric into place, and just take little pieces. Don't cut too far in. If you cut too far in, you're going to ruin your fabric. Round that piece of foam and everything and pull it through. It should go all the way into place like that. And then this will line up here and on round. And I'll do the same on this end too. I'll just make sure that that's on the top of the wood, which is there. Again, I'm just going to cut in a straight line, almost, up towards those stitches, turn the stitches under, and push the fabric all the way through, like that. Once that's all the way through, you can start messing with other parts of the project. And again, I'm going to cut towards the front corner like that, push that down and into place around this corner here. And you'll see that this fabric actually comes all the way into the front of the arm here, and that's how you want it. You want it to be square in there. That will come down onto here. I'm happy with the placement of this. I'm going to leave that there for now. Pull this into line, fold that over so there's no raw edges, pull it tight, and then secure it. Then pull to the back like that. Don't pull it this way, just pull all the way to the back and secure it there, and just infill as you go along. I'm going to see if I can secure some of the front here. Piece in the middle, this has to go on that piece of wood that I showed you. I'm going to pull that under where that is and secure that. And then this piece also has to go on that piece of wood, so I'm going to make sure that does too, and I'm going to secure that. Now before I'm going to pull this side in, I'm going to put some of this under here just to hold it out and up, because I don't want it pulling in too much. And I'm going to pull this out to the side here and staple that hard in to this corner. Maybe I need a bit more fluff up there. The thing is with foam, it folds where you don't want it to. This is folded down so that there's no raw edges showing. When you do it, just pull it down and out as hard as you can, because you don't want this moving. Now this side, where it was cut back and I put some stuffing under there, seems to be in more need of extra in that corner. I don't think it's going to be that noticeable. Usually chairs are not even anyway. Again, I'm going to pop that over there like that. I dislike it when I can't get things even. I have to be very careful because I overthink things. And this one's a little bit gappy and this one's a little bit not doing what I want either. So here again, I'm just going to pull that over as far as I can. I might have to cut that again. And again, I'm going to just pull that out as far as I can into that arm. And it's managed to sort that out just a little bit. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out at right angles, like that. And with my scissors, I'm going to just cut into that corner, which is the inside arm of the chair. Then I can fold this round on this side, and this round and under on this side. And if I'm not quite in there, I can just pull it out and cut a little bit more, but I think I'm more or less there. I'm not very far off. I usually stop about a half an inch to about a quarter of an inch before anything, so that I've got room to manoeuvre if necessary. So that one comes in and that one goes in. That's good. I'll pull those in a minute. I've removed the original staples because they were just pinning it into place. There's my centre mark here, here's my centre mark here. Just roll that back underneath like that. And I'm going to secure that as best I can. I'll have to go back and do a better job later. So having got that in position, I'm going to just pull this out to the side so it can't move. That should be in line with the wood at the top there. I'm going to pull that down and out as well. Just carry on pulling that out to the side until it's secure. Now, having secured this into the corner, I'm cutting a little way above the leg, just a little way. The arm of the chair is going to come in here, so I'm just going to pull that down just a little bit and staple along that line. It's actually just inside the line. And I'm going to just bring this down. I think I'm going to have to put piping along the bottom, so I'm going to cut in at an angle like this and then right in to the top, and then you twist this underneath so it doesn't fray. I'm going to leave this piece here for now, and I'm going to staple that into position, and then I'm going to pull in between so it's straight, and then I'm going to just pull all of this in from the center out and make it as flat as possible. I don't want to be pulling too much this way, otherwise the pattern when it comes down is going to be too distorted to match up. So you've got to be very careful. You're more pulling it down straight than at an angle. If it puckers, just do the best you can. You can always go back and finish it off better later. I'm going to ease these two lower ones up. So I'm going to just cut this across like that so I can fold it in nice and tight. I've carefully folded that up and resorted it. Now that looks really nice across there. Now again, I'm going to pull it over, but I'm not going to pull it too far, and I want this piece of foam to be in line here, so I'll just push that back. It will pop out slightly, but not too much, and I'm going to just staple that in here, as long as you don't have wrinkles going. I'm going to cut into this corner right here, so I'm going to cut like here. I will actually pop this in tight about here so I know where I'm pulling to. So actually I'm coming in at the wrong angle here, so I'm just going to alter it more to there. That's better. Also going to cut across here, more into there. As long as that can fold round like that, that's all I care about. And then this side, again, I'm going to just pop up like that and into position. I'll put this one in first. Now, I often tell you to cut things in V's, and it's like that and that. It just gives it a bit of a corner so that everything can go in. So I'm just going to get that piece in, tight in there. I don't think I've got that much foam behind the other piece, so I'm going to snip a little bit of that out like that, because I'm trying to make both sides as similar as possible. Fold all of that up underneath like that, and then pull that tight across, but level, okay, and secure. If I want to put piping on, I can, and if I choose not to, then that's a nice edge. This I'll bring in later. Now for the arms. Oh, what else? Oh, I'm still finding tacks and things, so I'll pull these out in a minute.